Have you ever felt like your mind gets stuck on an emotion? Like a broken record, replaying that conversation that made you resentful, or the image of that past mistake that still fills you with guilt. Or maybe it's a vague feeling of fear about the future, a what if, that paralyzes you and steals your peace in the present. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. We all carry these emotional knots. Resentment for what was done to us, guilt for what we did, or fear of what might happen are perhaps the three most common forms of mental suffering. They aren't just passing emotions. They become real blockages that keep us from moving forward, drain our energy, and disconnect us from life. And it's like this because we tend to cling to them and feed them with our thoughts, turning them into a permanent state. That's why in today's video, we're going to explore a practical method based on Buddhist teachings designed to process, heal, and release these emotional blockages. You won't learn to repress or ignore them, but to face them, understand them, and take away their power so you can reclaim your calm and your freedom. And stay until the end, because there I'll share a guided meditation so you can implement the process effectively and orderly. If you feel the time has come to let go of that burden, you can save this video in case you want to consult it again. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next guides. Let's begin. Step 0. Observe the emotion. Before diving into the 5 steps, we need a preliminary step which will serve as the foundation for everything else, learning to observe the emotion. We can't heal what we don't see. Often when we feel guilt or resentment, we merge with the emotion. We say, "I am resentful," or "I feel guilty," as if that emotion is the entirety of who we are. Buddhist philosophy invites us to take a step back and change our perspective. You are not the emotion. You are the space where the emotion is happening. The teachings on mindfulness give us the most powerful tool for this. They teach us to contemplate our sensations and our mental states with the curiosity of a scientist. Instead of fighting the blockage, we first shine a light on it. The next time you feel that knot of fear or that pang of resentment, try this. First, bring your attention to your body. Where do you feel it? Maybe you notice a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or heat in your face. The teaching invites us to register it neutrally, simply as, "I notice a painful sensation." It's not my pain, it's a sensation. After observe your mind, what mental state is present? You can label it calmly. "I notice the mind is affected by anger," or "I notice the mind is contracted by fear." This simple act of naming creates a healthy distance. You stop being the victim of the emotion and become the observer. This is step 0. Recognize the sensation and label the mental state without judging it and without clinging to it, just observing. But what do we do once we've observed it and the mental loop of guilt or resentment is still there. How do we begin to deactivate it? This is where the first step of the process comes in. Step 1. Replace the antidote. The first active step the teachings propose is one of the most direct techniques, replacing the thought. The idea is simple. If a thought is causing you suffering, like guilt or resentment, consciously change it for another that is beneficial and healthy. The teachings explain this with a very clear mental image, that of a carpenter who needs to remove a large, stuck peg. Instead of hitting it or struggling with it, they use a smaller, thinner peg to gently tap the large one and dislodge it. The thought of guilt or resentment is that large, stuck peg. The thought of compassion is the small peg we use to free ourselves. And what is that small peg? What is that beneficial thought? It's compassion, or what in the Buddhist tradition is called Metta, loving kindness. Guilt and resentment are forms of aversion, of anger, and the teachings remind us that anger is not overcome with more anger, but with its opposite. When the blockage is resentment towards another person, the antidote is to actively wish for that person to be well. I know it sounds difficult, but it's not about justifying what they did. It's about freeing your mind from the poison. Instead of repeating the loop of hurt, intentionally replace it with phrases like this. May you be at peace. May you be safe. But the most common challenge is guilt, which is that anger directed towards ourselves. Here, the teachings give us one of the most healing metaphors. They invite us to treat ourselves as a mother protects her only child. Imagine that unconditional tenderness, that fierce protection a mother feels, willing to give her life for him. That is exactly the attitude you should apply to that part of you that feels guilty. Instead of attacking yourself, put a hand on your heart and replace the judgment with that kindness. I made a mistake, it's true, but I deserve to be at peace. I care for and protect myself. This is the most powerful antidote. But what happens if the thought of guilt or resentment is so strong that it returns again and again, and compassion doesn't seem sufficient to dislodge it? That is precisely what the second step is for. Step 2. Examine the cost. If you have tried to apply the antidote of compassion, but the thought of guilt or resentment keeps returning strongly, it's because a part of you still believes it serves you in some way. Perhaps you believe that resentment protects you in some way, or that guilt is just. That's why the second step the teachings offer us is to be brutally honest and examine the drawbacks of that thought. It's about investigating its real cost, not in theory, but in your own life. The instruction is to ask ourselves, is this thought useful? Is it beneficial, or will it only bring me suffering? It's a direct analysis of the toxicity of that emotion. The teachings use a rather visceral metaphor here. They compare this examination to the feeling of an elegant and refined person who suddenly had the carcass of a snake or a dog hung around their neck. Imagine the horror, humiliation, and immediate disgust you would feel. That is the same natural revulsion we should feel towards a useless thought of resentment or guilt. When we see clearly that this mental loop is dirtying our mind, stealing our peace, draining our energy, and preventing us from connecting with the present, we feel a natural rejection of carrying it any longer. So the practice is this: the next time resentment traps you, pause and ask yourself with total honesty, is this helping me solve the problem, or is it just embittering my day and poisoning my mind? Upon seeing the real cost, the desire to let it go becomes much stronger. But what happens if we already see it's toxic, but the mind keeps going there out of sheer habit, like an addiction we can't avoid? Step 3. Stop feeding it. We've already seen that this thought of guilt, fear, or resentment is toxic. But sometimes our mind keeps going there out of sheer habit, like a TV channel that turns on by itself even though we know the show is bad. For these cases, the third step the teachings offer us is the art of non-interaction. It is plain and simple about stopping feeding it. If a thought isn't useful, and we already know it harms us, the instruction is clear. You should not pay them any mind, nor give them any attention. Imagine you are walking down the street and someone tries to provoke you or sell you something you're not interested in at all. You don't stop to argue. You don't analyze their arguments. You just keep walking. You withdraw your attention. With these habitual thoughts, we do the same. The guilt loop appears and tells you, remember what you did. But you see it coming. You recognize it's useless. And instead of getting hooked and starting to debate with it, you simply withdraw your attention. You return it to your breath, to the touch of your hands, or to the task in front of you. By not giving it your attention, the thought loses its energy. It's like a small flame you stop adding fuel to. It doesn't disappear instantly, but without your fuel, without your interest, it weakens and eventually burns out on its own. But what happens when the emotion isn't just a subtle thought, but a very intense physical burden? What do we do when we feel resentment or fear as a real tension in the body? That's exactly what we'll see next. Step 4. Relax the tension. Sometimes guilt, fear, or resentment aren't just thoughts. They feel like armor. The jaw clenches, the shoulders rise towards the ears, the brow furrows almost without us noticing. The emotion has settled into the body. Buddhist teachings constantly remind us of this deep connection. The mind tenses the body, and a tense body shouts to the mind that there is danger, creating a vicious cycle of anxiety and anger. The ancient teachings speak of mastering anger like a skilled charioteer tames a speeding chariot. That speeding chariot is our combined physical and mental reaction. That's why the fourth step is a very direct way to slow that chariot, relaxing the fabrication process of these thoughts. And one of the fastest ways to do this is to consciously relax the body. The teachings compare it to a man who is walking very quickly and, noticing his agitation, thinks, "Why am I walking so quickly? Why don't I walk slowly?" Then he walks slowly. Then he decides to stop. By abandoning the more energetic posture and adopting a more relaxed one, his mind also calms down. I suggest a brief practice to experience it right now. Wherever you are, do a quick scan. Are you clenching your jaw? Release it. Leave a small space between your teeth. Are your shoulders tense? Lower them away from your ears. Is your brow furrowed? Soften the space between your eyebrows. This simple act of releasing physical tension sends a direct message to your brain. The danger has passed. You can relax. By calming the body, you remove fuel from the emotion and break the loop. But what do we do if, despite all this, there is a thought, a loop of guilt or resentment that is so incredibly persistent it refuses to leave? For that last resort, the teachings give us the fifth and final step. Step 5, the firm intention. We've reached the fifth and final step. This is a last resort, a technique of firm mental discipline for those moments when a thought of guilt or resentment is incredibly sticky and refuses to leave, no matter if we have ignored, relaxed, or tried to replace it. When all else fails, the teachings offer us a very forceful instruction. They tell us that, with that harmful thought, pressing the teeth together and pressing the tongue against the palate, you should crush, subdue, and beat down those thoughts with your consciousness. The metaphor used is that of a strong man who picks up a weaker man. He could throw him down, bend him, and crush him. Now, this isn't an invitation to internal violence. It's just a very graphic metaphor for discipline. It is the power of your consciousness, your will, subduing a destructive mental habit. In practice, this translates into a conscious act of interruption. It's a mental, "Enough is enough," said with all your intention. The next time that guilt loop that tortures you appears, visualize it. And instead of letting it drag you along, use the power of your mind to cut it short. Gently clench your teeth, press your tongue against your palate as the teachings instruct, and say internally, with absolute firmness, "No, I no longer give you space." You're not fighting, you're setting a boundary. We've gone through a very complete map to heal these blockages, capping. First, step 0, which is the foundation. Observe the emotion in the body and label the mental state without judgment. And then, the 5 active steps to manage it. Step 1, replace the emotion. Use the antidote of compassion, the mother metaphor, to dislodge guilt or resentment. Step 2, examine the cost. Ask yourself honestly if that thought brings you suffering and feel the natural rejection towards it. Step 3, stop feeding it. Withdraw your attention from useless loops, like someone looking the other way. Step 4, relax the tension. Release the physical armor, jaw, shoulders, to calm the mind. Step 5, use firm intention. As a last resort, cut the thought short with a mental, "Enough is enough." Now, so you can integrate everything we've learned, I invite you to do a brief guided practice. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. If not, simply lower your gaze and relax your posture. Take a long, deep breath, and as you exhale, consciously release the weight from your shoulders. Now gently bring to mind one of those emotions we've talked about. Perhaps a heavy guilt, a resentment, or a habitual fear. You don't need to dive into the story, just allow the sensation to appear. Step 2. Observe. Gently bring to mind one of those heavy emotions, guilt, fear, or resentment. Without sinking into the story, just feel its effect. Where is it? In the chest? In the stomach? Name it internally. I notice a painful sensation. Label the mental state. I notice the mind has anger, or I notice the mind has fear. Just observe. Step 1. Replace. Now, actively bring in the antidote. Place a hand on your heart and evoke the image of the mother protecting her only child. That unconditional tenderness, apply it to yourself. Replace the judgment with kindness, repeating, I deserve to be at peace. I care for and protect myself. Step 2. Examine the cost. If the old story of guilt or resentment tries to return, examine its cost. Feel how that thought, right now, robs you of energy and brings you suffering. Acknowledge with honesty, this is useless, this is hurting me. Step 3. Stop feeding it. Seeing its cost, withdraw your attention. If the thought comes knocking again, ignore it like someone looking the other way. Don't give it your energy. Don't get hooked. Simply stop feeding it and return to the warmth of your hand on your chest. Step 4. Relax the tension. Notice how that emotion tenses your body. Now, consciously relax the fabrication of those thoughts. Soften your jaw, lower your shoulders, release the tension in your forehead. Move from agitation to calm, like the man who decides to walk more slowly and then stop. Step 5. Firm intention. Finally, if any persistent remnant of that loop remains, use your firm intention. Gently clench your teeth and press your tongue against your palate. With the calm and confidence of controlling the situation, say internally, enough, I choose peace. Take one last deep breath. Feel the space and calm you have cultivated. Slowly, when you are ready, open your eyes. You have just used the complete map to heal. Thank you from the heart for giving yourself this time and for accompanying me on this journey. I hope these 5 steps serve as a faithful map you can return to whenever you feel the weight of an emotional blockage. Now, I would love for the conversation to continue in the community. Tell us in the comments which of these 3 emotions, guilt, fear, or resentment, do you find hardest to let go of in your day-to-day life? Sharing our experiences helps us remember that we are not alone in this. If you think this map can help someone you know, I invite you to share this video with them. And of course, if you want to keep diving deeper into these practical tools, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes. See you in the next video.